Hey everyone, welcome back to Sacred Lotus Yoga. I'm Sarah and today I have a yin style practice to help nourish the body and soul. Together we'll let go of any expectations, judgments or fears and shift our focus to fostering more positive emotions within the mind. Bring along any props you have to hand, cushions, pillows or blankets, and come join me on the mat for some well-deserved self-care. I'm going to start out today in puppy pose. You can just pop your props off to one side, as we won't need them for this pose. And make our way over to hands and knees, making sure to keep your knees in line under your hip points. And make sure there's enough space out in front of you so you can walk our hands forward on the mat as you begin to melt and soften down, resting onto your forehead. You can allow the upper arms to rest onto the mat. Melting your heart space, melting your forehead down onto the mat. Just opening deeply into our shoulders. And just taking the next few moments to become aware of how you feel today. Checking in with the body and the mind. Noticing any tight areas. Noticing any stress, any strain in the body. Just seeing if you can bring some softness to those areas with the breath. Beginning to draw your awareness to your breath. Noticing each inhale and each exhale. And seeing if you can send the breath a little deeper down through the body. As you exhale, you release and you let go. As you let go, you release any expectations, any worries, any concerns. Just allowing yourself to let go and really focus on what feels good. Really focusing on the positives. Trying to soften more with each exhale. Maybe the heart space, the heart melts a little bit deeper towards the mat. Maybe you just felt more comfort, more ease in the pose. And you're going to gently come out of the pose by looking up towards the top of the mat, pressing into the hands. We're going to send our body forward on the mat, coming down into the Sphinx pose. So allowing the hips to rest down onto the mat. And walk the arms out in front of you. So we want roughly our elbows in line under our shoulders. You can bring your palms to touch together or place the palms down onto the mat. Or for a little bit more height, we can bring our blanket and we're going to rest it under our elbows. It'll also just give us a little bit more comfort as we hold these poses for a couple of minutes, longer than we normally would in our normal poses. So want to make sure that we're nice and comfortable. So making sure that the elbows are in line under the shoulders. And if you feel or notice any tension on the lower back, you can walk the legs a little bit wider on the mat. Take your time to get into the pose. There's no rush. We're going to hold this here for a few minutes. So we want to make sure that we're nice and comfortable in the pose. Roll the shoulder blades down away from the ears as we find length through the spine. And you can begin to allow the head just to drop heavy. Softly close the eyes and begin to draw your awareness back inside the body. Just finding stillness through the body and mind. And letting go of any worries, any plans that you might need to make. Just notice what thoughts are running through the mind. Not trying to hold on to them, but just noticing what they are and allowing them to drift by. We can't stop the thoughts running through, but we can allow ourselves to not hold on. We can just notice and let them drift by. And you soften through the muscles. The only part of your body that's working is your arms as they hold you in place. And allowing the breath to release and soften. As you follow the inhale in through the nose, and down through the body to the bottom of the belly. As you feel the belly pressing into the mat in the inhale, and noticing the belly peel away on the exhale. It's just our arms holding us in place. Everything else is soft. Any tension is melting out of the body. Noticing the weight of the legs as they hang heavy on the mat. Noticing the muscles in the lower back. Noticing how they're releasing and letting go, allowing us to work deeper into the connective tissues. And after your next exhale, gently coming out of the pose, gently bring the gaze back up, opening the eyes slightly. And very, very slightly come out of the pose. Just walk the elbows wide on the mat. Allow the forehead to rest. Just soften the forehead down onto the arms. And just letting go of any tension in the lower back. Maybe shaking the hips left to right. Just to come out of the body. Gently bring the hands planting onto the mat. Coming back through to tabletop. You can bring your blanket to rest under your knees here. We're going to make our way into a child's pose. So we're going to bring our knees together, nice and close. You can bring your pillow or your cushion, resting it under the forehead. Or if you feel like your hips are going to come away from the heels, you can rest the cushion or pillow or blanket in between the hips and the heels. You can rest wherever you want. Just going to begin to soften the forehead down towards the mat, towards the pillow or cushion or whatever you might have, and allow the shoulders to begin to soften and hang heavy. So we want our knees together, our arms, our fingers pointing down towards our toes, to allow our shoulders to hang heavy, allowing the shoulder blades to peel open. And the forehead is resting comfortably towards the mat. So we're folding in on ourselves. And just notice how this pose feels. Such a lovely counter pose for Sphinx. As you work through a small back bend, quite nice to massage out the muscles and release and let go. And just notice how the lower back feels. See if you can allow the body to soften and become heavier with each exhale. Imagine the body melting, the muscles releasing. As you notice the sitting bones become heavier towards the heels. As we relax and we release the muscles, the body unwinds and makes more space. Making more space for the breath to flow. Making more space for flexibility and mobility. And more movement through the body. As we slow everything down, we're connecting with what really feels good. We're nourishing from within. And soothing the muscles. Taking one last breath. And as you exhale, going to gently peel out of the pose, bring your hands either side of your shoulders and softly and gently press yourself back up. Lovely. I'm just going to pop the props off towards one side, up towards the top of the mat. Make your way back through to tabletop, coming into sleeping swan from here. So we'll start on the left side. We want to bring our left knee in line behind the right wrist. So the left foot comes over towards the right hand and begin to walk the right foot towards the back of the mat. So the hips begin to melt towards the mat. I want to start this pose by finding length through the spine. So inhale, grow tall through the spine. Now before we go any deeper into the pose, you can rest your cushion under the left hip. Just for more support there if you feel you're a little bit high up and you don't have support. Or you can bring it out in front of you and we're going to rest the forehead down onto the cushion. So inhale, find that length. And as we exhale, we begin to melt the chest down towards the mat as you melt the forehead to rest onto the cushion. You can keep the arms out in front of you and trying to keep the hips squared. It's a deep, intense pose for the hips. And just allow yourself to really rest and release here. And soften the muscles of the shoulders. Melting the muscles in the back of the neck. Noticing the weight of the hips. Allowing the arms to hang heavy. Notice how as we hold these poses for a couple of minutes, we feel the body unwind. We notice that point and the body begins to release and soften when we let go of the muscles. We soften the muscles and we begin to work into the fascia. I'm going to gently peel out of her pose. As you begin to press into the hands, Making our way back up, lengthen through the spine. We're just going to step our left leg back to meet the right. You can bend into the right knee to walk yourself forward, back through to tabletop, and make our way into the opposite side. So bring your right knee, this time to rest behind the right wrist, and begin to walk the left leg back, like we did on the first side. Inhale and find length, grow through the spine. As you exhale, you hinge forward and begin to rest down onto the blanket, onto the cushion, whatever support you have. Take your time getting into the poses. And then once you're there, release and soften. Allowing the muscles in the hip and the glute to soften more with each exhale. And just noticing now the thoughts running through your mind. Notice if they begin to quiet, if they begin to slow down. Just know, by using your breath, you can release and let go. Holding on to negative thoughts and worries does you no good. So just try and release. Just take a moment, pause, and focus on your breath. If you notice the mind begin to drift and wander, draw back to your breath. Follow the breath down through the body on the inhale, and release and soften the muscles on the exhale. And gently beginning to come out of the pose once again, pressing into the hands, pressing yourself back up. Lovely. We're going to walk the right leg to meet the left. I'm just going to take a moment to sit back towards the heels and just stretch the arms forward and allow the hips to stretch back. From here, we're going to make our way to caterpillar pose. So we're going to shift our hips onto the mat, bring your legs out in front. Now this is where, if you do have your props, I would encourage you to use as many of them as you have. So we're going to walk our legs out. So we're going to come into a forward fold from here. So if you do have a blanket or cushion or pillow, maybe rest it under the knees. As much height as you need. So don't worry if the knees are really deeply bent. It doesn't matter at all. Keep the feet flexed to begin with. Maybe you want to sit up on your cushion for more height on the hips. And just allow you to go a little bit deeper into your fold. So make yourself nice and comfortable. Inhale as we lengthen through the spine. Exhale, you just hinge forward slightly on the hips. Just rest your hands to wherever they come to. And then you can allow the upper body to begin to fold and melt over the legs. Drop the weight out of the head as you come down into our forward fold. We want to make sure that our knees are bent, even if it's just a little. Just beginning to once again really come into your body. Really closing in on how you feel. Just noticing the sitting bones as they sit heavy on the mat. Noticing the points of the body that are connecting with your mat, your hands and your heels. Allow your shoulders to soften, allowing the shoulder blades to peel away from each other. Soften and smooth the muscles in your forehead, allowing your eyes to become heavy in their sockets. Release the muscles in your face and soften the muscles in your jaw. Notice if the body has begun to unwind. Maybe you can go deeper into the pose, folding deeper in on yourself. Noticing muscles in the lower back release and allow you to go deeper. I'm going to gently unwind and come out of our pose, pressing into both hands, pressing yourself back up, looking towards the feet, and walk the hands back in towards the body. You can once again pop your props off towards one side and just bring your hands back behind you and just shake through the legs a little bit. Lovely. From here, we're going to come down to lying onto our backs. So make your way coming down, lying comfortably and bringing your knees in towards your belly. And squeezing the knees in, allowing the spine to fully flatten onto the mat. Feeling the weight of the hips. Allow the shoulders to soften. We're going to make our way into a twist here. So we're going to drop our knees to the right, keeping the knees in towards the body. We're going to drop the knees over to the right. Now you might want to rest your cushion or your pillow in between both knees, just for more support. You might need to shift the hips a little bit towards the left. Just take your time in getting comfortably into the pose. If you want to throw a blanket over you to keep nice and warm, bring the arms into cactus or extend them long away from the body. Palms face the sky and bring the gaze towards the left, coming into a gentle spinal twist. Soften the gaze or close the eyes and allow yourself to rinse and release. As we twist our spine, imagine that you're rinsing and releasing any negative thoughts. And with each exhale, any pain, any discomfort through the body, any negativity through the mind releases. And with each exhale, we let go. Noticing that this time is for you and for you alone, to feel the best that you can inside of your body. And right now, nothing else matters. Release with the exhale. Inhale. fresh, clean air through the body. And gently begin to bring your head back to center. Bring the arms down along the body. Release the props if you're using them as you bring your knees back up to center. Shift your hips and draw the knees into the belly. Squeezing in, noticing how one side feels from the next. Now we'll make our way to the next side. So begin to drop the knees towards the left. Maybe shift the hips over if you need and rest, pillow or cushion or whatever you have handy in between the knees. And bring the arms into cactus. And again, bring the gaze over to the right this time. And just soften everything. Soften the shoulders down onto the mat. Allowing the knees to rest towards each other. Noticing the fingers as they naturally curl. And you notice your toes. Wherever they're resting. Soften and slow the breath. As you quiet the mind, we're letting everything go. And gently begin to bring the head back to center. And release the cushion from in between both knees. Walk the feet back and draw the knees again into the body. Dropping the knees heavy, wrapping the arms around the knees, giving yourself one final embrace. Allowing the neck to grow long as you tuck the chin slightly in. And when you're ready, in your own time, we're going to make our way into our Shavasana. So if you have props, use as many as you can here. You might want to rest your pillow, your cushion, behind the knees for a little bit more height, or maybe you want to rest your head onto the pillow. Wrap the blanket around you. Put on any layers that you need. Keep yourself nice and warm. As you walk your feet either side of the mat and allow your hands to rest down onto the ground. Palms face towards the sky. And your whole body is completely heavy. Letting go of any effort. Allowing yourself in your Shavasana to really allow every pose to come together. I encourage you to stay as long as you can. Bringing gratitude to yourself. Finding ease and comfort through the body. Melting the muscles. And thank you very much for joining me for today's self-care class. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon on the mat. Namaste.